The moment her Lexus scraped against the steel teeth of my harvester, I swear I felt the universe pause, like it had just handed me the playbook for her downfall. That sound, metal grinding against metal, echoed across the fields, and she jumped out of her car with that trademark HOA arrogance, waving her arms like she was Moses parting the Red Sea. Only this time, she wasn't commanding water. She was trying to stop a farmer, in his own field, doing the work his family had done for nearly a century. I sat up there in my cab, phone in hand, recording, and thought to myself, Carla, you just made the dumbest move of your life. Now, let me back up a bit. My name's Daniel Brooks, third-generation corn farmer out here in western Illinois. 200 acres of soil my grandfather cleared with his own hands after the war. I got a wife, Emily, 2 kids, and a farm that barely breaks even most years, but it's home. It's who I am. For years, it was quiet out here. Just neighbors who understood the rhythm of farm life. The early mornings, the tractors, the smell of diesel and fertilizer, the constant hum of hard work. Then about 4 years back, some developer decided this patch of land next to mine would be perfect for one of those modern country lifestyle neighborhoods. They called it Willow Creek Estates. Cute, right? A bunch of city folks moved in, trading skyline views for cornfields. But the thing is, they wanted all the rural charm without a lick of rural reality. And that's where she comes in. Carla Hammond, 55, former corporate executive, self-declared queen of the HOA. She had the kind of presence you could smell before you saw. Designer perfume, pearl white Lexus, heels clicking like gunshots on gravel. The kind of person who moves to farm country because she says she wants peace, then spends every waking hour trying to drag the city out here with her. To her, my life's work wasn't feeding families. It was some industrial nuisance. The war started over a dirt path, of all things. My family's access road. For 80 years, we've used that same stretch of gravel to get equipment to the backfields. It's in the deed, solid as stone since 1945. But now, because it cuts across the HOA's scenic entrance, Carla decided my combines were ruining her manicured landscaping. One morning, she marched over with her clipboard and papers, looking like she was about to shut down a Fortune 500 company. She wrinkled her nose at the smell of manure in the air and declared, "This ends today, Mr. Brooks. Your machinery is destroying our community's image. You'll use the highway from now on, for extra miles, through rush hour traffic, with 40,000-pound harvesters." I just stared at her and said, "Ma'am, my granddad built this road before your neighborhood even existed. It's legal. It's mine." She smirked, this cruel little smirk, and said, "We'll see about that. I have connections at City Hall." Classic move. When facts fail, drop a vague threat. But Carla didn't stop there. No, she went all in. Noise complaints about my 5 a.m. chores. Petitions about toxic farm dust. She even parked herself on that road with a folding chair, umbrella, and camera like some wannabe Border Patrol officer. Every morning, I'd fire on my tractor, and there she'd be, scribbling notes, snapping photos, acting like she was documenting war crimes. One of my neighbors, old Frank Davis, finally yelled at her, "You know the difference between Dan and you, Carla? He feeds people. You just feed drama." Her face turned beet red, but she kept scribbling. That woman thrived on control, and the more people resisted, the harder she pushed. And I'll be honest, she got to me. The letters, the complaints, the harassment, it piled up. I'd sit in the barn at night, staring at the paper she'd shoved in my mailbox, wondering how much longer I could take it. My wife, Emily, she saw me sinking under the weight of it. One night she said, "Dan, this isn't just harassment. It's war. But you know what? You got patience. You've got the truth. Start planting your case the way you plant corn. Let it grow, then harvest it when the time's right." That hit me. Farmers don't rush. We prepare, we endure, and when the season's right, we reap. So I started documenting everything. Every false report, every blockade, every insult. Cameras went up. Logs were kept. I even went down to the courthouse and dug up the original deed. Turns out my easement wasn't just 12 feet like I'd been using. It was 30. 30 feet wide, which meant Carla's precious flower beds. They were half planted on my legal right-of-way. Her little checkpoint station, trespassing on my property. The look on her face when the surveyor put those orange stakes in her roses, priceless. But entitled people don't back down when they're wrong. They double down. Carla ramped it up. She staged fake oil spills on my property, poured motor oil near my equipment, then called the county screaming about contamination. What she didn't know was my trail cameras caught her in the act, 3 a.m., in her designer tracksuit, pouring Valvoline like she was directing a crime drama. When inspectors came out, they laughed. "Mr. Brooks, this isn't a spill. Someone poured this on purpose." I just showed them the footage. Their jaws dropped. That's environmental fraud. Federal crime. And I thought, well, look at that. Carla's digging her own grave, and all I've got to do is hand her the shovel. Meanwhile, the community started whispering. A retired accountant named Eleanor dug into HOA financial records. She discovered Carla had been siphoning thousands from homeowners' dues, paying her husband's fake consulting company, covering her Lexus lease, even billing for legal strategy sessions that were nothing more than her harassment campaign against me. 35 grand gone just like that. And suddenly, her neighbors who once thought she was protecting them started realizing she was robbing them blind. By harvest season, the tension had built to a breaking point. One crisp October morning, I fired up the combine for the final run, and there she was, Lexus parked sideways across my access road. Engine running, live streaming on Facebook. "I am protecting this community from agricultural terrorism," she shouted into her phone, while blocking a legal farm operation on private property. Deputies showed up, told her to move. Instead, she gunned it, drove her Lexus straight into the side of my stationary harvester. The crunch was sickening. Hood crumpled like a soda can, and my cameras caught it from 6 different angles. She jumped out screaming. He attacked me with farm equipment. Deputies just stared at her. "Ma'am, the harvester hasn't moved in 12 hours. You drove into it." On camera, while live streaming. She tried to spin it, but it was too late. Arrested on the spot for interference, insurance fraud, reckless endangerment. And the kicker, her insurance refused to cover it because she'd been using that Lexus for official HOA business, which violated her lease. 40 grand in damages, straight out of her pocket. The very next night, the annual HOA meeting turned into a courtroom drama. Eleanor laid out the embezzlement records like a prosecutor, neighbors shouted, reporters took notes, and I showed my compilation video. 6 months of her harassment, her oil spills, her lies, capped off with the grand finale of her ramming her Lexus into my combine. The room went dead quiet, and then you could hear laughter, genuine, belly-deep laughter, as Carla sat there, pale and broken, watching her empire collapse. By the end of the night, she'd been voted out, stripped of power, and handed over to law enforcement again, this time for federal charges. Here's the thing, though. It wasn't just about me winning. It was about this community finally waking up. They built a new HOA board focused on cooperation, started a farmer's market, even funded improvements to the very road Carla tried to take away from me. Irony's a funny thing. The money she stole ended up paying for better gravel and drainage on my access road. In my case, believe it or not, got cited across the Midwest as a precedent for protecting farmers from suburban harassment. Looking back, I realize it wasn't just a fight between me and her. It was a fight between 2 visions of what it means to live side by side. One built on entitlement and control, the other built on patience, truth, and community. I didn't set out to be a hero. I just wanted to farm my land. But sometimes, when you document carefully, when you stand your ground, when you let entitled people destroy themselves with their own arrogance, you don't just want to fight. You change the rules for everybody. So let me ask you, was justice served here? Was Carla just a power-hungry fraud who got what she deserved? Or was she a product of a system that gives HOAs too much control over people's lives? Drop your thoughts in the comments. NTS, tell me what side you're on. And hey, if you've ever had a nightmare neighbor story, I want to hear it. Because nothing tastes sweeter than justice, especially when it's harvested at the right time.